Hey, this episode coming to you from the future, the past. I don't know how time works anymore, actually. Hello and welcome to the Nen Show Podcast. This is my co-host Mathwiz. I think I forgot some of the words there, but it's okay. Hello, Mathwiz.
I'm from the future. I'm future Mathwiz. I don't know.
Nice. How's the weather in the future?
Bad.
Oh no. All right. Let's just get into it. What did you think about this reading?
I think there were parts of it I liked. I just don't know if this one has clicked with me so far as much as like the previous one.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm feeling similarly. Maybe part of it's because we only have like half the arc, and it's a pretty bulky arc. It's a big one, and I also kind of read it over I forget, I don't even remember when I started it, but it's been a couple weeks, and like I was wondering if that was affecting it, but I was just not feeling a lot of it. Maybe discussing it will help. Maybe it's just a matter of like, once it all clicks into place, I'll like it, but that point maybe hasn't happened yet, because like, again, we only have half the arc, and it is what it is.
Yeah, and the reason this episode was delayed by a week was because, like, the week that we were going to record, I ended up, like, my internet was down for, like, the better part of a week. So I was just like, shit, can't do the reading.
Yeah, so I slowed down on the reading, and then, that's what I meant when I said that I'd read it over, I read it over a longer period of time, so it's not as, maybe some of it's not as fresh with me, I'm pretty sure I followed along decently enough, but, it is what it is. Getting into the reading, we start off, we ended up last time Reborn vanished, but we go back a little bit to before that. Suna got the Dying Will pills, sent off Basil and Lancia, I don't know. I still don't know how to pronounce these fucking Italian words. Then they get hit with the, Reborn gets hit with the 10 years later bazooka, and he's just gone. Then Suna gets hit and ends up in the future, which when I was probably because I was aware of the future arc, at least the name of it, like I didn't know anything about it, but I did have the thought when the 10-year bazooka showed up of like, oh, is this how this happens? And it's like, well, yep, that's exactly how it happened. Obviously there's other stuff going on that we don't know the answer to, and some stuff we do, but of course we start off with future Gokudera. One slight disappointment I have is that, like, because we do see a number of the future selves, but we don't see all of them, which is very sad. Or actually, I think, hold on, who do we miss? I guess it was just Chrome, actually. We don't really see future Chrome, but,
future Chrome. I was thinking, like, people getting brought forward from the past.
Oh, no, almost everyone's here now, if not everybody, but, and obviously we don't see future Suna because he's fucking dead. Gokudera asks, Suna to eliminate the, what was his name? The glasses guy. Shoichi? I think that, maybe I'm misremembering.
Well, there's the guy with the glasses who's Shoichi, and then there's,
I didn't remember his name.
There's also Byakuran.
Yes, who, we know some things about them, but it is, I did think it was kind of funny the way, like, people from the past kept coming to the future, but, like, someone's fucking going crazy with the 10-year bazooka. Fucking Gokudera is so silly. Like, first he's, like, depressed over Suna being dead, and then he's just like, let's go get some food. And then, of course, he created the Gokudera alphabet, which is silly.
Yeah.
Then we get introduced to Lal Merch, who, I don't remember if we saw her before as a baby, because I remember there was the one baby during the Varia arc who was trying to rescue the 9th. That might have been her, but I didn't go back and check. Oh man, going through it again, I'm just like feeling like, man, I just was not into this.
Yeah, I feel like with most of this reading, I was kind of just like reading it and it's like, okay, things are happening. There were like a couple fights that I think had some sort of like interesting, I guess like conflicts going on. But for the most part, I feel like, I don't know if it's just because like my personal life has been all over the place. So I don't know if like that's part of why like I wasn't taking things in properly. I'm really not sure.
I mean, like I said, I wasn't feeling it either. And so...
Like, I wouldn't even say that it's been, like, bad or anything. It's just kind of like, I don't know. I didn't feel like the last time I feel like I had some points I definitely wanted to bring up, and this time it's kind of like I don't really know what I have to say.
Yeah, I guess I just kind of didn't get that much out of it. Like I read 90 chapters, 80 chapters, and it was like, yeah, things sure happened. There was some moments, I guess. But overall, I'm just like thinking about it, and it's like, yep, that sure was manga that I read. Like, I just not feeling it. I don't know. This might be a short as fuck episode. Because I'm just skimming ahead and like, yeah, Future Yamato comes in. He's cool. And I guess especially early on, a lot of it is just exposition, like explaining shit that we as readers now know because it was explained, or there's shit we just straight up don't know, which is like, well, we'll find out when we get to the next part. Like, I don't really care to speculate whatsoever, So,
I guess it's kind of interesting how the future characters are used. Like, like it's not like all of the characters get brought back from the past immediately. It's kind of like, I guess you need people around to sort of give out the information. But then it's kind of like once it got into the really important fights, it usually feels like it's not the characters from the future who are, finishing things off. It's more like the past characters who are getting the opportunity to like grow and develop. And I guess that's kind of neat.
Yeah, especially like one of the last fights was Hibari, where, future Hibari was doing work, and then he got swapped out for past Hibari, who, so that one especially is recent in my memory. So,
character designs continue to be good.
That is true.
Well, I mean,
is true.
I assume, like, by the end of the reading, it's like, I assume the character designs are good. I feel like the scan quality at this point, once it stopped being the volume scans, kind of just butchered a lot of the art for me.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I feel like I already sometimes tend to struggle comprehending what like action is happening in manga pages, so when it's like a lot of the colors are just sort of just kind of like melding together because the scan quality is not the best. I feel like that was another part of maybe why I struggled with this reading, because it was just like there were so many fights where I'm just like, I cannot tell what's going on. But maybe that's just down to my reading ability or lack thereof.
Well, I mean, I also didn't really like, because so like I'm getting, so Hibari comes up and the bird he bird why was that so hard to say? And then some enemies come in from the Militfor family, and like they introduced the whole fucking system with the rings and the boxes, and because I was talking last time about how there isn't really a shared power system, and apparently Amano Akira heard that, went to the past and changed their manga to fix that. But like so there's the flames and there's the boxes and shit, and I was not feeling it at all, I guess. Like the animals are fine. Like I don't mind some, like Gokudera gets the little cat, and Hibari has the hedgehog and shit. Like that's fine, but then that just seems a lot for something that I just didn't get anything out of, like, because I was trying to make connections and stuff, because like we have, okay, here's what all of these like different weather elements mean, and so now you have like, instead of, because with the whole Varia arc they were contrasting, like, okay, here's thunder versus thunder, here's storm versus storm, where now it's getting all mixed up, and I don't know, I just wasn't in the mind, maybe it was just my mindset where I just wasn't getting that much out of it. So except for, like you said, maybe a couple fights. Oh yeah, we get future Haru and future Kyoko, and then everyone gets swapped back at once.
I think it was kind of interesting seeing like future Yamamoto and like past Gokudera, kind of like seeing some of their interactions. Heads. Yeah, because it's always. I mean, obviously there's even more bickering between both of them from the past later in the arc, but it's Gokudera being kind of hot-headed, but Yamamoto he's like older and wiser and kind of like, I don't know, I thought it was kind of interesting that like it seemed like the older Yamamoto was able to kind of leave something of an impression on Gokudera, although it didn't necessarily seem to fully stick when the two of them had to fight together, but they got there, I guess.
Unfortunate. I was also briefly, I thought just connecting it to other shonen series, Battle Shonen we've read, is like they've got a kind of like brotherly, like Zoro Sanji rivalry thing.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, obviously that they're pretty different characters all things considered, but just like, you know, that because like you'd have, you know, the main character, and then he has like who's the two guys who are right after him, and they also don't get along very well, right? So it just has that same, you know, sort of vibe a little bit, just a little bit. But yeah, in this first fight, I guess, like, you know, the bad guy was just talking about like using flames, and he was kind of sexist, I guess. Where Suna is obviously protecting Kyoko, and I don't know. Oh yeah, I forgot about Gokudera's little like skull gun. It's kind of cool. So anyway, they get their goal to gather everyone so they can return to the past. Oh yeah, the two ladies who are working with Zanzis are part of Milifor now, I guess, with Shoichi. Nope, yeah, see, it's not happening. I was hoping discussing it would make me appreciate the arc more, but I'm just not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. I feel bad.
Yeah, I'm trying to look for things in the chapters as we go through them to like think to comment on, but it's just a lot of it for me is just kind of like, yeah, that happened, and then that happened, and then that happened.
Yeah, I'm used to just describing what's going on, but that can't be it. That can't just be everything. But yeah, they go to the hideout. They got training to do, lots of training, which is cool, I guess.
I think like one thing that I feel like up to this point, it's like I was trying to wait to see if there was like anything in particular that stood out to me to comment on to bring this up, but I feel like
I will take literally anything. Yeah, please help
me. I feel like one thing that kind of clicked for me with this reading was I guess like Tsuna's whole like character stuff, because I feel like beforehand it kind of felt like, you know, there was the comedy part of the series where he was just kind of a walking punchline, and then you know, in the arc with Rokudo Mukuro, and then like into the next one, it kind of felt like there was still like a disconnect between, you know, like his base character and then like once he got like his power up and became like cool guy Tsuna. But I feel like this arc, I feel like it kind of finally, the two click together for me, where it's like, okay, this is the same character and not just like he gets a power up and suddenly is way more composed and cool, and like okay, I'm not really sure how to describe it, and maybe there will be scenes that come up. Maybe it was like the whole connection of like, you know, protecting his comrades and stuff like that, but it's like you know, his mindset is different than I guess that of like what I guess you would expect out of like a traditional hero type, where it's like, oh, I have to I don't know, save the world or do this or whatever, when at the end of the day his motivations are a lot more like smaller scale.
Yes. No, yeah, that was good, like, you know, because he was kind of just forced into all of this, right? So, you know, he's, instead of worrying about everything, instead it's just like, you know, protect what he cares about. That's what's most important to him, you know? So yeah. Oh yeah, and here they're getting to the explanation. Like, I am now on chapter 148. I am just skimming through, just struggling to find something to talk about.
Oh yeah, wow, I spoke too soon. It was literally like a chapter after what I was on. Yeah, that it's like, don't try to act cool, you're not the hero type.
Yeah.
And yeah, feelings are a lot more simple than, you know, the grandiose like saving the world or anything like that.
Which I you know, it's a good thought to, like, because this is a, you know, with the time travel shit, and now, you know, this big gang war, you know, but if it's since it seems like really big, but that moment just kind of pulls the conflict in, the scale of it, just to focus on like, yeah, this is what matters to Suna, right? So yeah.
I guess it's also just kind of like him getting more serious with training to get stronger and stuff like that. Like it definitely it feels like he's more invested in the conflict than before, where he was always like, I don't want to be mafia, you know, I don't want to be here.
Right, because yeah, exactly, yeah, because he can't get away from it now. So
yeah, you know, it's like he's still. It seems like he still wants to avoid conflict, but like, you know, at least if it comes down to it, he's, you know, not gonna like run away. He's like, just because he wants to avoid it doesn't mean that like he can't do it if he has to, I think.
Yeah. But anyway, they explain the whole things with the rings and the boxes. They also bring up how the pacifiers, the Arcobaleno pacifiers, also have like different colors, and which correspond with the weather colors. And I just remember, because if I remember correctly, Reborn's is yellow, and I'm pretty sure yellow is the color that they associated with the sun. So I was just wondering, like, oh, because so does he have any connection, or will he like have any connection or similar to Ryohei, who's the Sun Guardians? So I don't know. I was just wondering if they were gonna. Yeah, just a thought I had. There's also some stuff with Haru and Kyoko. Like I liked. I think it was one of their or Kyoko's friend from the future helping out. That was really cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Here's a minor character, but yeah, she's gonna help her friend even if she's 10 years younger because of weird shit happening. It was nice little thing. Oh yeah, then we get what you were talking about with Gokudera and Yamamoto with Gamma. That fight happens. And yeah, like you said, they kind of don't really get along and work together very well. They do try to take him down, but Gamma's pretty strong. So, but of course Hivari comes in and the manga becomes good again. No, I'm kidding. I don't know why I said that. I don't think that at all. I just thought it's funny because I like Hivari.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just because like he seems to sort of have that. I don't know what the term would be. Because I'm pretty sure Gap Moe isn't it, but like he's just this super cool aloof dude. But then he's got like all these things with animals. Like he's got the bird, and then his power is like a hedgehog. And I don't know. I feel like even though this manga is pretty aesthetic all the time, he would probably be the one to count as the aesthetic character because it's like he's the one who's disconnected from the rest of the cast, and then he just kind of shows up and does his own thing, and he's cool, and then he leaves, and yeah.
Yeah, there was one moment from the last reading I forgot to bring up, but even though I thought it was really funny, because like his whole focus on school. Like that doesn't come up this reading, but I just remembered like I like the moment where like the fucking ninth head is literally dying, and he just goes, "Can you please die not on school grounds? Thank you." Like he doesn't care that he's gonna live or die. He just doesn't want him to die at the school, which is just so on brand, and it's just he very good. But yeah, he very fucks Gamma shit up. And the disciplinary committee is still a thing.
I guess it's also just like even in terms of being aesthetic character, like it's as if his design wasn't already cool enough. Then it's like adult Hibari is somehow even cooler.
Yeah. It was also cool that he ended up being the one to train Suna for a bit. Where it's like, because like most of the other future characters, either we didn't see them in the case of Chrome, or in the case of Gokudera and Yamamoto, they left pretty quick. But Hibari stuck around for a little bit, which was nice.
I guess it was also kind of cool how like everyone else had kind of their own rings, but Hibari is just like he doesn't have one, but he's so strong that like he just uses all these other rings and just his power is too much and he destroys them.
Yeah. Speaking of the rings, we'll get to it, but I do like how Gokudera's thing turns out with his rings. Oh yeah, I did forget about Futa and Bianchi coming in. Futa exists, but there was some neat stuff between Bianchi and Gokudera.
Yeah, and I guess also like I did notice there was a line from Reborn that I guess just considering where the series started and the whole stuff with the dying will, that like he has a line that's like, you make mistakes, but as long as you don't die, then like you can grow stronger from them. Which like I don't know, like I guess the whole thing in the beginning where it's like the fact that Suna had to rely so much on the dying will that it's like you're not supposed to like want to die, I don't know, right. Maybe I'm not quite reading it right, but it seems like there's something there.
Because of course with Yamamoto is like, well, he hit his introductory chapter, he attempted suicide, and Reborn's the one who ends up training Yamamoto. So there's that. Was that when he said it? Was talking to Yamamoto or?
No, that was around like right before Bianchi and the other guy showed up.
The other guy. No, it's fine. No, I was just scrolling ahead and I noticed the characters were getting shuffled off with their trainers, and the fact that Reborn said that line and then Yamamoto was the person they trained. I just thought noticed it. We also get a silhouette of like a hypothetical older Reborn. And I have a feeling we're never actually going to see what he really looks like when he's older. So I'm not going to get my hopes up. I'm not going to be lied to and just accept it. So I'm just going to reject the possibility outright. And I won't be disappointed. I did think it was like a little amusing with the where Bianchi's trying to get Gokudera to accept her training, and he's being like no, and so she like just I don't know, something about the way he like is crying after he gets food in his eye was just like a weird little detail that I thought was I just caught my notice twice, first while reading it and again while scrolling through, and of course sort of framing Gokudera's hatred of Bianchi and trauma, with beyond just her being the poison cooking and whatever, but also just like related to their family circumstances. Oh yeah, I fucking forgot about that entirely. During the Hibari's training, where Suna ends up fucking meeting all the past heads of the Vongola. I was especially like looking at it again now, and I keep getting like fucking MHA vibes. I don't know how far you are in MHA.
Whatever. I think the arc that I had left off on was the one with the YouTuber and like the festival.
Okay, yeah, see, I don't remember the series well enough to say whether or not... No, I don't think you would have gotten to the part that I'm thinking of, but there is also, like, I just noticed in the panels talk about the past sins, just the way the flames are drawn on their faces reminds me of Endeavor. So, just a little, that seems familiar kind of thing. There's another thing, but I don't remember if it's a spoiler or not for you, so I will not talk more.
Well, I know that there was something about the way that One for All works, that how it's passed down. I'm not sure. Maybe that's different.
It's connected to that. I'll just say that. But yeah, Suna like basically rejects power for the sake of power, because he just wants to protect his friends. But that that's what matters the most. So and yeah, he gets a new power up.
I guess maybe a weird thing I felt with this arc is that, like, I mean, obviously it's a really long arc, so it wasn't going to conclude here, but just like it feels like a lot of the main characters like get some sort of power up or maybe even multiple power ups over the course of like the reading that we got, but it always kind of feels like even those power ups just aren't enough.
Yeah.
Like, I guess maybe it's enough to beat like the enemy in that battle, and then it's immediately, because I guess it's just, they're from the past and they're not on the same skill level, but I don't know. I guess maybe that structure I didn't quite resonate with me. I mean, like, it's probably there for something, but
yeah, because I was just mentally comparing it to other series in my head, and like there's examples where like the characters are constantly training, like Hunter x Hunter, or it also comes so like obviously you haven't read it and won't for a while, but Toriko kind of does a thing where it's like there are training arcs, but they also get stronger through the food that they eat, because of how the gourmet cells work and shit. So like just a general manga progression inherently makes the characters stronger, so there's less, so the characters can deal with higher level threats without spending whole dozens of chapters on training, which I think was kind of neat. I feel like the series we've read that's probably a bit closer to this one is Bleach, but even then I didn't feel like I don't know, like there was training for sure and quite a bit of it, but it didn't feel like you said, where it's like, it feels like it's almost after every fight, and it also feels like it's basically never enough, right? Like,
I feel like, yeah, I was kind of thinking Bleach, and I remember just like the experience of reading it back then was kind of the part of the issue I was having with it. And I mean, I'm sure, like, even though now I'd appreciate more what it's doing thematically, maybe I would still run it. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's just because we're doing it for the podcast, or if it's just not a structure that I'm like, I don't know, if there's something about it that just doesn't work for me. Not sure I can really explain.
If I were to compare it, my thought would be like, I mean, it might just be part of it that like I already know the full scope of Bleach, so I kind of know where it's going, where in this case I don't. But also one difference with Bleach is that like when you introduce Soul Society, you also introduce like all these other characters, and there's a very clear like, okay, Yamamoto of Bleach, he's the fucking top dog, right? He's the strongest dude, and even like Aizen, at his peak was like rivaling him basically, right? Like, so there's a very clear top, where in this case it's very vague in regards to like how high the ceiling goes, I guess. So if the ceiling keeps getting moved, like the sense of progress through all the training doesn't necessarily feel as rewarding, if that makes sense. But also maybe that's like, I don't know. I guess that's also the case with like Dragon Ball, but I don't have the problem there. So I don't know. I had to think about it more. But yeah, he does get his power up, and he hasn't figured it out yet, and he does spend most of the arc like working out the kinks. Then they explain the boxes and shit and how they came about through accidental invention, more or less. I guess one brief takeaway I had from that was like, because they mentioned like the coincidences aspect and sort of like just things happening to work out so that like this technology can be developed, and they connect it to other technological advancements and scientific developments and stuff. And I guess like since they framed it like that, my thought was like, because so there's this future timeline, but the whole goal is to go back and change the timeline, basically. Ultimately, like, they're going to resolve the conflict here so that they could go to the past, and presumably in the past they're going to be able to solve things so that this future doesn't happen. So I guess like by setting it up there, that it's very possible that we won't see the boxes and rings in the future, or after the future arc, possibly. So I don't know. It was just a thought I had. So anyway, the Milfour family is talking, and we learn about the Trenesete, I guess is what if I'm reading that correctly, because it's got the pronunciation there, but I might still be pronouncing it wrong. With the 7-3, where it's like, so there's the Vongola rings, then there's the pacifiers, and then there's another whole set of rings that we have seen at least one of, but barely know anything about. I also thought it was funny later when we find out about the 6 devil rings, and it's like, okay, guys, there's a lot of awesome jewelry here. I get it, okay? What is this, Rave Master? No. I don't know why I said that. Oh yeah, Yamamoto still thinks it's a fucking mafia role-playing game.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird that, we're this deep in now and he's still, that little kind of holdover from like the gag stuff is still present.
Yep, I have no idea what's going on there. So anyway, we find out that, or I'm skipping ahead a bit because I didn't have anything to say. I guess we went through more of Gokudera's backstory. Chrome's here in the future.
Yeah, I feel like, I guess with a lot of this section of the reading, like the backstory there, it kind of feels like it's a thread that's not resolved yet. So I feel like there's only so much to comment on, and maybe that's just kind of where we are for this stretch of reading.
Yeah, well, because one thing I just realized is how like things could potentially not potentially get resolved, or like connected later things, is because like one thing I noticed is, so you have there's the black and the white halves of the Milfour family, which like one of them is the old and one of them is the new, so they have like a past future thing going on there. And then now you have Gokudera's past as well, so I'm wondering like how much of that is going to feed into the overall arcing like conflict of the arc. It's because obviously the main characters are from the past now fighting in this future that happened. So yeah, I don't know. And then there's also the fact that like with Shoichi, like at the very end of the reading, he says that he's on their side, or the one of the past is, but the one of the future is against them. So that's something. I don't know, but that was also literally the end of the reading. So yeah. So anyway, the fucking glasses guy attacks Chrome. And there's a before we get into the fight itself, there's a popularity poll with the girls and guys, it looks like, where Chrome's the most popular girl by a fair amount, which is I mean, I do like her design, but like as a character, like she's kind of there, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like, last time I feel like I had more to say with like the connection to Mukuro being cool and how it's sort of like they're both reliant on each other. But yeah, it's just like, I feel like not much has happened with her since, or nothing that left much of an impression on me.
Not yet, yeah. And Lao Merch is, I mean, if from what I have noticed with popularity polls, like it's not unusual for like new characters to rank pretty decently. So like Lao Merch is number 2, Haru's number 3, which is Haru's good. Ipin is still there, which is, I don't know, sure. I didn't even recognize her until I read the name above her, because like that, I mean we don't see future Ipin that much, so and then yeah, as far as the guys, Hibari's number 1.
Yeah, with the girls it just kind of feels like it's just slim pickings. Like, I mean,
yeah,
like Chrome is probably the most main character of the bunch, like in terms of being part of the Guardians, but like even then it's like I still feel like I'm wanting more from her. So and then yeah, like you said, Hibari number 1, as he should be.
Yep.
Although Mukuro's still up there.
Yeah, no, very close to Suna, but Suna did pull ahead by a bit. Kokudera and Yamamoto at 4. I'm pretty like compared to the girls one, where it's like, you know, I'm not super big on most of the female characters in general, but the guy one is I'm pretty satisfied with it. You know, I can accept this. So.
And I can see that there are more characters on the list, but it's not translated. So.
Nope. No, well, I could read
Zanzis.
Zanzis. Yeah, number 8 because it's in English or in Roman letters rather. And I don't feel like translating the katakana right now that I can sometimes kind of do. But I'm not as good. I was slightly better with hiragana, but I've kind of fallen out with both anyway. So yeah, but Mukuro is now a crow. So Mukuro is a fukuro, which is an owl. I did just realize that.
And it's like another one of the Guardians getting an animal sort of companion weapon type character, or well, not really sort of character. I don't know.
Yeah, and Mukuro is, you know, very much like protecting and guiding Chrome, which is nice. The one thing I was feeling a little weird because she there's the whole thing where it's like, oh, we have to synchronize our feelings to use this ability, and you know they summon, you know, their comrades basically, but. I don't know, maybe I'm misremembering or I'm missing something, but I feel like they kind of weren't very cool to Mukuro, like not Mukuro, Chrome, like they only really cared for Mukuro, like, because I remember her being, like, left alone, and, you know, like, Suna mentioning that, where it's like, oh, they just left her, I guess, you know, so, I don't know, but, they were more just, you know, supporting her for Mukuro, but maybe it's kind of like some time has passed and there's more of a connection there. Or even if there's not, it's probably like, you know, she was kind of on the verge of death in the hospital, so maybe just like didn't really have many connections at that point. And so it's like, hey, you know, I know these two people, so... Yeah, because when when we got the end of that page with the young Mukuro and then those two, I was like, friendship moment, and then I was like, wait, hold on. This is a little weird of a friendship moment, thinking about like the actual context of these characters and their relationship with Mukuro. Because like Mukuro and Chrome are fine, like because you know because you know they're kind of a symbiosis, but he's also like he is protecting her and guiding her, especially like as with the future one is like how they get to this moment in the first place because he's watching over her. But it's the other two where I'm like, I don't know. I'd have to check some things because again I could have just missed something. But yeah, I guess the only other thing I really got out of the fight is that Glowzenia was sort of just like, yeah, these are real, this is reality, where obviously, like, you know, Mukuro and Chrome are illusions, so they mess with realities, so, yeah.
Yeah, I thought the one line where it's like, illusions are real illusions, within the illusions hide real illusions, from the real illusion, the illusions are created, within the truth hides the lie the truth. It's like I get what they're going for, but when it's just like that, it's just a little silly.
Baffle them with bullshit. Yeah. Also, I like the way the 10 years later Squallow comes in, where he's just like, "Hey, idiots, you little scums." And of course, like, it's still, I don't know, it would have been really cool to see more of the Varia, but it's like, it makes sense that, because they're still part of the Vongola family, so it would make sense that they're allies, you know, even if they don't like each other, but, you know, we only get a little bit.
Yeah, I like the one interaction where it's like, if you butt in, I'll kill you, and he's just like, try.
Yeah, do it, bitch!
And then they just start fighting. It's, yeah.
Yep. Then Ryohei comes in, he's still doing the sumo lie with Kyoko. He's still a dummy. I'm at the page where they like, 167, where it's like, well, shit, we assembled all the Guardians, and then I see Lambo again. I'm like, but why is he here though? Like, I feel like he'd be the last person they want to send 10 years later, because like if they kept 10 years, I don't know, maybe he's gonna, you know, do something later in the arc, but like he's also literally a baby, and now they can't swap him with 10 years later, the actual future Lambo. Might have actually been helpful. So
yeah, at this point he just really hasn't done anything. So I guess it could be a wait and see.
He saw boobs. Good for you, kid. Whatever. Like, I don't know. Like, yeah, he did. Yeah, maybe there'll be something in the second half of the arc. But I am not on the Lambo train. That still has not happened. Like we were talking about how we aren't super into Mukuro, but like, you know, at least she has a good design, and at least she's not annoying when she shows up. So
I feel like also on that line, never mind, I lost it.
was it about her design or was it something else?
I think it was something else, but I don't remember.
Unfortunate.
I guess I kind of like the joke where Yamamoto was doing the training with Reborn, and it's like the fluorescent paint bullets will glow in the dark, and it's just his entire body is lit up. It's like, well, I guess I'd be dead a lot.
I also like when Gokudera was like, fate must have brought us all together. And Suna's like, why are you not embarrassed to be saying something like that? Like, like just, yeah, again, like Gokudera, like looking really edgy and being kind of, edgy a lot of times. But then also he does like that cute shit. Like, it was also, I think he was the one managing the like group huddles back in the Varia arc. So, I don't know, he's cute. Oh, right. Then there's we do see future Mukuro. More good designs.
Yeah. And I guess this is like the first opportunity we have to see Byakuran's power, or at least an idea of like what scale he's operating on.
Yeah, which, makes sense, like, because it's like, as far as, I mean, I think at this point, like, we only have, future Yohei, Hibari, and Mukuro, and so, and Mukuro is also pretty strong, so, yeah, makes sense to set him up against Byakuran. And they also brought up the radiation that has to do with the Treni Sete, the 7-3 shit, but that's probably another thing that they'll explain later, hopefully. Oh yeah, and I also like how Kasuna's figuring out his training, or his flames and shit, and he has a conversation with Haru, where, because she's moping a bit, because, everything sucks, that's fair, but, like, the way she sort of, he's trying to protect his friends, and she's a connection to, like, that normal life, and, but she's also the one who sort of helps him figure out his shit with his powers, so, like, he's being supported, and it's good, and so he has to support himself, and it's good. Little moment. The Suna-shaped, like, crater in the rock wall that he hits is pretty funny, too.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that, because his hair is so big, So anyway, there's the dream with that big white machine, the circle thing, that Chrome, and they see Shoichi. That's super important. We don't know why. Fully.
I like the visual layout of that whole sort of the way that's presented in like Mukuro's view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we get some important content with Gokudera's cat.
Very true. Good stuff.
So yeah, they all figure this shit out before the raid. So got like 40 chapters left. Help me. But yeah, the raid begins, and of course Hibari is good.
Yeah, it is really cool how, at this point it's like, they have other places to be, so he's just kind of like, especially how at the end when like past Hibari came back, it really was just like this character was kind of like accomplishing everything that he could before, like basically expending all of his energy before it's like, all right, I'm going to the past now.
Yep. But how did he know when he was going to the past? Plot hole. I don't know. It was cool. I don't really care.
But yeah, just like seeing him take on an army of guys and then he came out of it, I don't want to say unscathed, but like he came out of it and was able to fight another guy. So
yeah, right. Most of the other guy, not all of them. So yeah, the raid starts. There's a big guy with a big suit of armor, and they just completely trounce. He's not a threat at all because they're stronger. Oh yeah, there's also the color spread for chapter 179 they're all in suits, and I just think Psychopaths, because I already mentioned that she did the character designs, and just the they also wear suits in Psychopaths.
Oh yeah.
So I just saw that.
Oh, if she did the character designs, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because I just saw that, and when reading it, I was like, okay, yeah, this is literally just Psychopaths, or rather, Psychopaths is literally just this entire color spread of Reborn turned into an entire series. Because there's also shots in or like from opening, or I definitely seen similar bits with just the character kind of walking side by side, and it just reminded me of that. Or being side by side, so.
That's really funny. Like, I didn't know that at all, because I definitely had the thought when, like, seeing adult Hibari's design, like, I'm like, oh, he has the kind of appeal in the same way as, like, Kogami from Psychopaths. And
I thought I mentioned that earlier.
You probably did, and maybe I just forgot.
That's fine. Yeah, because, no, it's definitely, like, that moment, the specific, because, like, earlier on the art doesn't really give those vibes, but now, especially like I said with this color spread, it's like, okay, yeah, there it is. There it is. There's the psycho pass. I see it now. Though I guess related to character designs, apparently there's also going to be like a Warner Brothers DC comic crossover. There's with like a fucking Harley Quinn Joker isekai. I don't know what that means, but apparently Amano Akira also did the character designs for that. So
yeah, I don't know anything about DC, but I did see that, you know, she was the character designs, and I'm like, oh well, the characters are gonna be hot. You know, that's all I can take from that.
I didn't watch the teaser, but I did
Neither
see
did I.
just like an image of like what the Harley Quinn, and I was like, oh yeah, I can kind of see it in the eyes, especially. So neat. And yeah, they're doing the Battle Shonen thing I like, where it's like, I'll take this one, you guys, stay off, or sometimes go ahead. I sometimes they just stay and watch. But we get Lol Merch fighting Gingerbread. Is that am I remembering the character's name correctly?
Yeah, it seemed like they said that, like, that's, I don't go by that name anymore, but there wasn't another name brought up, so.
Yeah, exactly. We get a little flashback for Lol Merch, and yep.
I guess I kind of like the science guy, the Spanner, who gets introduced.
Oh yeah, no, he was neat. Because he gets his fight against Suna, and then it ends up like sort of going against the family, since he has a connection to Uni, the boss, the former boss rather.
Yeah, I'm still kind of wondering how that's going to factor in with Gamma, because like last we saw, he was kind of, him and Gokudera were killing themselves against each other. So yeah, it kind of felt like Gamma might have had a potential. I mean, because like they set up that he had, you know, a grudge against the swordsman guy. So yeah, I'm just like, yeah, there definitely are some characters who seem to not gel with Byakuran. So I'm just kind of expecting there to be some sort of twist that like they join up with the heroes or something like that, or sabotage from within.
Yeah. Then Suna gets a fight against the robots, with him continuing to try and work out the kinks of his power, and don't think, feel. White spell and black spell. That's what the two groups are called. Another Gokudera being silly moment. There's the Tsuchinoko snake monster, and Gokudera is so excited. The real one was discovered 3 years ago, and he's like, really? Just silly. And yeah, Ryohei beats its ass using a support animal to regenerate himself so he can use his body freely and such. While Suna is captured by Spanner.
I kind of like the joke where he woke up and it's like, how do I pronounce this name? And it's like, sorry, I'm still half asleep. And then it's like, wait a minute. And I guess also just like Suna is small boy, so like all the clothes are too big for him.
That's pretty good, yeah.
I guess it's the kind of stuff where it's like, yeah, this character's not particularly antagonistic because it's like there's all these goofy little and I mean he ends up working with him later to try and help like train him and perfect the power.
Yeah, where it kind of uses like the humor as a way to sort of disarm and like, yeah, things are safe now. Like Suna's not in danger even though he's captured by a literal enemy, right? So yeah. But yeah, Gokudera and Ryohei run into Gamma. I almost said future Gamma, but then it's like, well, there's no past Gamma, so I don't know why I felt the need to differentiate. But yeah, Ryohei gives Gokudera some advice, which leads into his section of the fight against Gamma. And yeah, so like one thing I took away from this part of the fight, did you have anything to say before we get into Gokudera versus Gamma?
Not particularly.
Okay, because like, well, one thing I noticed is because Gokudera lost his fight in the Varia arc, right? Where, because like as far as the Storm goes, he was the weaker Storm Guardian compared to Belphegor? Beelzebub? I fucking forget what his name was. The prince dude. But then I guess what I thought was interesting about how this sort of revelation is that, like, maybe he's not the strongest Storm Guardian, but he has 5 different, like, usable energies that he can, like, fuck around with his boxes and do a bunch of different shit, basically. So, like, so I just noticed that, hey, that's kind of a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess I also kind of thought that the whole thread of like, whose resolution is stronger was kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially because like the Millefor family is fractured, so Gamma has the thing with Uni, So, he's not as loyal to Byakuran, so which would weaken his resolve, where Gokudera cares a lot, right? So,
yeah, because he had also said, like, there's no way that a kid can have, the same resolve as an adult, but it's still kind of like they're on equal terms throughout the battle. So it's like, well, that's not true. And I guess maybe that sort of plays into what the arc is going for with, like, past and future and things like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I guess, like, I didn't think about that angle where it's, like, not just you have the past and future characters, but as in, like, a growing up, like, sort of bend. So, I don't know, maybe that's a thing. And then Gokudera gets big and just fucking claws, like, or, like, puts his paw against Gokudera's face, and then the claws come out, and just being a little shit. Fucking cat. But yeah, then we get some backstory with Gamma and Uni and how that sort of relates to the current situation. And I guess I also noticed because, like, the implication seems to be that Byakuran is kind of using some sort of mind control or hypnosis or something to control Uni, and it's just been a regular recurring thing with the antagonists sort of being very controlling of their subordinates, right? Like I brought it up with Mukuro, and Zen's is kind of just didn't give a shit, but here's that kind of angle again. So with Byakuran completely controlling the number 2 of the family. Then there's Yamamoto versus Genkishi, the Phantom Swordsman, I think they call him sometimes, or something like that. Or Phantom, I forget what it was. Never mind. I'm trying to remember what I got out of that fight, because I liked it, I'm pretty sure, but my mind is not here right now. It left the building, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I really took much away from the fight with the swordsman, because it seemed like it was kind of doing something interesting with, like, not Gokudera, Yamamoto, like, learning from
Squallow,
like,
yeah,
learning from Squallow, but then he lost anyway. So
yeah, that's true.
Maybe
that's
I missed something.
No, actually, yeah, I was looked at my notes and I didn't write anything down. So, I mean, I guess I really felt like in that way, like, because he was getting some good stuff, and and then he just runs into the wall and it's over, and I guess I felt that emotionally because I was starting to get into the fight, and then he just loses, and it's like, well,
yeah,
unfortunate.
I was gonna make some dumb joke like Hibari Ex Machina. Like, Hibari just shows up and, well, he doesn't save the day, but it's always just like every time Hibari shows up, it's like, yo, let's go.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I brought up last time, where it's just like he's the Phoenix Iki of Reborn, because he just comes in and lost, it's fucking Hibari. Cool. He's even got a burb, so instead of he's not a phoenix himself, but he's got a burb.
So true.
He burb. I'm pronouncing it wrong on purpose. I know what I'm doing.
I had always been saying it like hybrid, like hybrid, but I don't know if that's what they were going for.
Yeah, I assumed it was supposed to be Hibari bird, so he bird. But I looked it up and I could not parse the original Japanese name for the bird, so I have no idea what, like, the literal translation is. So, but yeah, Hibari comes in. So you wouldn't understand, but there was some mechanics of this part of the fight that reminded me of Jujutsu Kaisen's domain expansion, where just like the way, so because it's just a especially visually similar thing. Like, so when Hibari puts his hands around his hedgehog and it expands into like the inverse dome that surrounds them. There's a technique type of technique in Jujutsu Kaisen called domain expansion, where basically they sort of like make a space that matches their personality or stuff. Like we see, like it can be a beach or an old shrine, and they sort of like take their opponent into that space, and there's certain ways that techniques can be used in that space, and so it just reminded me of that, which is the way his hands go together, and then he just creates a domain, basically.
Something about Hibari, you have to get through the spiky exterior shell, and then you find the fighty boy underneath.
You get through the shell, and there's a soft boy underneath? No, he bites you to death. He is only anger. There's also the fight with the lady, with her monsters who like were simps who loved her, so they turned into monsters, I guess. Lesson: don't simp too hard.
And it played into Suna's whole like hyper intuition thing, where like he struggled against the robots because they had their movements were irregular, whereas like with people, it's like there's an intent and stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, that's true. I like Hibari, like the way that the past Hibari comes in. So it's like you got the cool moment with Hibari coming in to not, like you said, not save the day, but to the rescue basically. And then he does it again for himself.
Yeah.
It's recursive. Because he's just like, who the fuck are you? You disturbed my sleep. I have to destroy you. Like, dude just doesn't give a fuck.
Hibari's ultimate last resort is Hibari.
Those eyebrows are against the school rules. Like, the just dumb reason that he has to come up with to fight this dude is just, it's funny.
And I assume there was also, like, wordplay, where, like, the thing that powers the boxes is resolve, but he's, like, gets to be pissed off, and they're just like, no, that's not...
He just overwrites the rules because he's angry. I love Hibari. He's so funny. So yeah, the monsters fuse, and so Suna just destroys them. Shouldn't have done that, dumbasses. Fusion never works unless it's Dragon. No, actually, I don't think fusion works in Dragon Ball either. No, it literally never does. They never defeat any of the foes through fusion. Fusion never works. Don't do it.
Well, in the one movie, they do.
Yeah, I was trying to think, and it's like, yeah, it's literally just a Janemba movie because Vegito doesn't defeat Buu. Super Saiyan God Gogeta doesn't beat, or Vegito, or no, it was Gogeta, doesn't defeat Zamasu. Gotenks doesn't defeat Buu. Like, fusion never works in canon, at least. So I was just like, hold on, wait, is that wrong? And it's like, no, I don't think that's wrong. Even in fucking GT, I'm pretty sure Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta doesn't defeat Omega Shenron. So it's like, well, or maybe it does. I don't know. It's been a while. I never actually really watched GT. I just saw some of it and played video games that had GT content. But that's unrelated. But yeah, I like how like Hibari gets reinforcements and he just is not having that shit at all. Like he's like, no, I'm the Cloud. I fly freely. I don't give a shit about your friendship. Fuck you. I'd be fine if no one showed up. He's just, God.
There's the power of friendship, and then there's the power of Hibari.
Yes. I also think it's funny that Chrome calls him Cloudman, which is it's a silly name. Oh yeah, and so yeah, Hibari does the hedgehog thing while Suna tries to go forward, and like I don't know, there's a moment where he remembers like there's just a panel with like everybody and the charm and all the support he's getting as he blasts through the Venus flytrap looking things. It's like neat little moment. And then everyone fights this fucking Phantom Swordsman guy. Like holy shit, Phantom Knight. Excuse me. I forgot. Yeah, I kind of totally forgot about the fight he gets against Suna with all his armor and shit. But there's another popularity poll. Oh, it's I guess an adults and children poll.
Oh, is that what it was? It was incomprehensible to me.
Doesn't help
that like the page is a 2-page spread, but it was like split in half for me.
I also like okay, well, or no, wait, Chrome's not a fucking adult. Or wait, is that supposed to be future Chrome? We don't see her. We never see future Chrome. Why is she here? How did she get 5,600 votes? We never see her. Am I missing something? I'm not even 100% sure who all these characters are.
Yeah, no, me either. That's why I said it was totally incomprehensible. I'm like, I don't recognize all these characters. I don't know what the theme is.
Because there's Dr. Shamal, there's Chrome, I guess. She has to be because she's got the eye patch. There's Gokudera, there's Zanzis. I don't recognize the guy in the middle. For sure. Is that Gamma? Is that I don't know. It's like who's the guy? Where's one and 3 are just floating into nothing. I don't know who they are. Like because they're not translated. I help me somebody. Yeah, and the second page, like that's the that's the kid. Yeah, because Zanzis ranks on both of them that I can tell because he's got. Actually, maybe I can compare the kanji. Oh yeah, okay. Suna is number 1 on the adult poll. Reborn is number 3. So I'm guessing they weren't shown because she doesn't want to show what future Suna and Reborn look like, even though they won. So okay, that makes sense. All right. I see. I didn't think to compare the katakana. I still don't know who number 7 is. Number 2 is nope, can't tell. I can't read katakana. I can only guess. So yeah, that weird poll. It is, I guess it's interesting to see that Suna won this time, and he already got second. So Mukuro's in fourth. He's dead. Mukuro's dead. No, he's just Gogadera won over Mukuro. So I don't know. I should have figured that out earlier, and so to spare me the confusion here. But that was weird. Yeah, and I guess as far as the fight goes with Suna and Phantom is like there's a part where the illusion he doesn't even harm the illusions of his friends. He just freezes their hands and has them go basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, Suna protect. And then like I said earlier, I laughed when we found out about the devil rings because it's like got more jewelry. But yeah, everyone is captured. It looks bad, and then they hit. Shoichi gets hit with the bazooka, and the past one comes in, and that's it. We're done. We're free. Yeah, that was rough to talk about, just because I just had not a lot of interest in the arc. So sorry about that, but maybe it'll click with me in the next reading. So
I feel like I did not process what happened in that last chapter properly. Like, I didn't even realize that was him from the past. Like, I'm trying to read it over again, and I'm just like, yeah, I see there's the, sound effect of something being shot.
Oh, well, in fairness, because what, did you just read it, how long before we started?
He tried it out in the past. That's what he was saying. Wait, no, I think I'm just confused. Wait, I'm sorry, what was your question?
No, when did you finish the chapter relative to us talking about it?
Maybe 2 hours ago.
Okay, 2 hours, so 40 minutes before, or 30 minutes before we started talking.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have had a lot of time to process it in the first place, so, okay, that's fine. But yeah, we will see how things resolve next time. Hopefully the future arc clicks, with me, because it was a lot, and I wasn't into, I will say going over it again, I appreciated some of the fights more, but, it's also a lot of exposition and training, and just shit happening. I feel like a lot of this was set up for whatever's going to happen next time. So I think there will probably be, at least I'd hope there'd be more to talk about next time, that some of the ideas that were set up here get paid off there. Or, even threads that kind of seemed cool, maybe get a little more to do next time, certain characters, If I get more Hebrew, I'll be satisfied. So
this is I feel like it's been, the Hitman Reborn reading thus far, the discussions have been weirdly inconsistent, because it's the first stretch, all comedy, neither of us were a big fan. The second stretch, whoa, this is a good manga. Third stretch, this is just not much to say. Yeah, we'll see. We got the rest of this arc, and then we have 2 more readings left. So I guess reading wise we're halfway done, and chapter wise, are we halfway done? Maybe not. I don't even remember. I could make some bad joke maybe it's Hitman Reborn. It's the quality of the reading is reborn across each discussion, where it's it goes down, then goes up higher, and then goes down, but then up higher. What is the term for that? I don't know. It's deconstructing and reconstructing itself. It's rebirth. It's help us. All right, thank you for listening. What's the next reading? Oh God, I hope my internet works so I could actually look it up. Well, it's 219 to something. Shut up, Mathwiz. No, you're fine. 219 to 282. So yeah, we are halfway done with the chapters, at least, and halfway done with the reading. So yeah, all right. Thank you everybody for listening, and we will see you next time.